together is one thing, and then for me to be able to focus on something else.
Yeah.
We were always like, that was always a miss.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I have a really hard time giving gifts as well. But the man sitting next to me does not have trouble with that at all. He is a first-rate gift giver. He will pay attention to stuff for a long time and keep it in the back of his mind. And then when it comes time for Christmas or birthdays, he knows exactly what everybody wants. He's really good at that.
That's awesome. I suck at words, the words of affirmation. I'm not good at giving them or receiving them. It feels awkward to me.
You know, that's really interesting as we were talking to is, so I've been kind of dating somebody on and off for like 6 months, or just in my life in general, just being in a partnership or a marriage is like, I don't tend to be a person that likes physical touch, like with the general population, even with my own kids, but with my significant other, like I need it. And I thought that was really interesting. Like that's one of my top ones within a partnership. But like, and that's Jackson. So when I know Jackson likes to be touched. So like, you know what I'm saying? But like, it's never been. My mom was never really affectionate towards me. My dad was overly affectionate towards me. Like where it made me uncomfortable. You know, it's really like, I see you. It's just like, but like with that other, that one person. It's like essential. So I always thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I think that changed based on the relationship. Like
Yeah.
from people I work for, I need words of affirmation to make sure like I'm on the right track. Because then if I don't get that, I'm like, you know, in the background thinking like, oh, I'm messing everything up and I don't know what I'm doing. But from other people, I'm like, cool, thanks. But
It's interesting,
yeah.
isn't it? So it can change depending on the relationship with the person.
Yeah, I totally think so.
Yeah.
I just think about like proximity too. Like how close do I let them get to me? And how much am I willing to open up? Because if my primary love language is quality time, like, and I don't know you very well, I'm not gonna let you have time in my life maybe, because you're saving that for the people that are closest to you maybe. You're like, you don't have, like, I don't have all of the hugs to go around in the world. You're like, I can't do that for everybody. And sometimes it's not socially acceptable. Like,
It's always appropriate.
yeah, no, it's not. It's so not. Like words of affirmation are very acceptable in the working world, the business world. You give me a nice email, give me a nice like numbers of like excellent, good, fair, whatever it is, and then a comment about it, like you're golden. Like sometimes you gotta just take whatever people can give you, because it isn't necessarily okay, like in our culture, to do certain things. Like I will never, oh, that's not true. Here's a funny thing. So like my work is very interesting because all my coworkers were teachers, 98% female. And then I've got all my students around me, and like as they come in through the door for class, all my second graders, they give me a greeting. So most of them will do handshake, high five, hug. I've got a couple kiddos that do like a samurai bow, but that almost all of it involves physical touch. When I see my coworkers, I give them a hug. But when I see my boss, I'm like, stay away. You know, because like it's just not, that's not like okay. But I do remember at every concert when my headmaster or assistant headmaster hands me flowers for the evening, they're like, and come in for a hug. It's like, they like tell you, okay, this is scripted, it's okay to do that. It's I think so. Like, I think that they're just trying to take a social norm and say like, and like pull it away for that moment. Because then like afterwards it goes back in. You know, like I'm not going to be going around hugging my assistant headmaster all the time. You know, like she's the big boss man, you know? But I don't know, it's really interesting to have those things of like what's socially acceptable and what's not.
I wonder what Jesus was like. Was he really touchy? Because, I mean, he spent quality time, he did words of affirmation, like he gave gifts, right?
I mean, he healed people. What kind of gift can you get other than healing? That's super great.
Yeah, I feel like it
He was
was
the
Yeah. Yeah. See, he did stuff for people. I mean, like he told people parables, which confused them probably instead of, you know, helping them out in understanding. But yeah, right? Can you imagine Jesus walking into this room right now and him knowing exactly what you need? Like coming to you and either keeping his distance and looking at you saying, "You're looking good, Adrian. I like your beard today. You're looking really coiffed." You know, like he can just, from so far away, he can just say to you, or like he'll come in close, or he'll like bring you a glass of lemonade. Like that's a gift. In acts of service, maybe it's like you needed your car washed, and he's like, "Hey, Greg, actually, oh wait, you're not acts of service. Anybody, acts of service." You're like, "Hey, Christy, here are your keys. I just washed your car for you." Like, wouldn't that be amazing? That would be so cool. Which brings me to the last part of this chat. So, and I'd love to chat more and more and more and more about love languages, like in our stories and all of the things, because this is in every area of my life, like with my students and with my family, with my friends. It matters to me how they feel loved. So I try to do that for them. But so I love talking about it. I love thinking about it. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I wanted the kids to know what their love languages were, so that they could recognize that they feel loved. By the way, Abraham, you took that test last week. Do you remember that really long one? Can you guess which one you got number 1 on? Okay.
What he likes to receive.
Yeah. So gifts, probably gifts, act of service, quality time, physical touch, or words of affirmation. Probably gifts. Actually, most definitely gifts. So Abraham got the highest score was gifts. And I love that your dad picked that out for you, of talking how amazing you are at gifts. Yeah. Yes. So most of the quiz that we were doing was how you receive. So it wasn't, I think once you realize how you receive love, then you're able to understand if that resonates with you when you're giving it as well. So. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to do after you've gotten in touch with knowing yourself a little bit more is remembering those times where the Lord has shown up and lavished his love on you in these areas. You can ask him specifically, Lord, I feel like I'm words of affirmation. What are specific times in my life where you have affirmed me with words? If yours is acts of service, you can ask the Lord, show me the times in my life where you have done something for me that I had no hand in, that you just did it for me. Times that we've been together and had that quality time. A gift you've given me, or a time where I felt your physical presence. Take a few moments. I'll give you 2 minutes, actually. See how deep you can go. If you already automatically get one, then go deeper and see how far he can take you into the world of how he loves you, how he has loved you, past tense. Sorry, Dan, that was ducks, if you couldn't hear that. Okay. Now, these can be pretty personal moments, so I just want to give you permission to be vulnerable. So if you'd like to share, know that you are really showing your true self here, and it's a risk.
I'll start. So when you said the acts of service and ask him what he's done where you had no part in it, and I'm like, that's really hard. I don't know that anything will come to mind where I don't feel like it was something that I did for myself, that, or at least played a part in it, you know. I mean, obviously, like, God's done stuff for me, but you know, God helps those that help themselves.
Sorry. That's a good theology you got there going
on. So that's just been really ingrained in me. And so when you said those specific words, I was like, okay, I don't know that I'll really be able to think of anything that. And anyway, so he brought up several. So one was like he gave me Dan. You know, he was like, you had no part in who Dan would be or how you would meet him or whatever. And then he was like, and your children. And I was like, okay, I had a part in that. And he laughed, but was like, yeah, not really. Like, I created them long before you even could contemplate them, and who they would be and their personalities and such. And then also he brought up my work and how he orchestrated that, me getting the job down here. And I was like, well, again, I did the education, and he was like, yeah, but you can't make the things happen that I made happen. You know, you can't make the job open up right at the right timing that you were supposed to move down here, or the current fire marshal retiring at the time that he's going to be retiring, and the time when you came in to be lined up for that. And
How you started in the fire business wasn't exactly your choice.
right, true. I did not go to school to be in the fire service, and so that was fun for me because I didn't expect to hear anything really, or at least be able to refute everything that came to mind. So that was
Only a
really
little.
fun. Yeah. So yay.
See, I'm a little the opposite because in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I've become very aware of the places where God has given me basically gifts that I've not been a part of, like, getting here or going to Hawaii when I had plans to go to school in Florida. Like, yeah, it may not have been. I mean, Arizona I was aware of right away, but other ones I was not until later. But yeah, definitely gifts that God's like, okay, I'm going to save yourself from yourself in this moment and give you this gift now or later or, yeah.
It's kind of funny how your gifts are actually places to live.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally taking that.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
they totally
amazing.
are.
Yeah. By the way, this week or last week, Sammy and I decided we're going to move in together, so it's great. I'll just take that and we'll be like, the gift that you have with the Lord of finding the right place to live. We'll do that. We'll do that. Take that.
For real.
We're just deciding when. I know. It's super great. What a gift, God. Sammy.
Roommate.
So fun.
So mine, when I was asking the Lord, I was like, okay, of course it's going to be, words of affirmation or gift or something like that. But it wasn't. The one that he shared with me was touch.
Really?
Yeah, and that was shocking. But then it wasn't so, because there was a period of time when I first of all came into the things of the Holy Spirit that I was physically, like, I felt the weight of him on me. I felt the tingling in my body. I felt all those things that I had never heard that you feel, so it wasn't like pre-planted in my mind. And I just knew that I knew that for the first time, because I struggled with God really loving me, even though I had been a Christian for a while. I struggled with realizing that he was really real. And once he physically touched me like that way, I have never doubted since. So, and it was before I heard about laughing and anything, and I was laughing hysterically. And that wasn't really my character, to laugh hysterically, until I couldn't move anymore. And so I know that was his, it was so bizarre, but it needed to be bizarre for me to know, because after that point, I never doubted his love for me. I never doubted my salvation. I never doubted since that moment. And that was powerful. And it was a season where actually he would sing to me in the middle of the night in full orchestra. Like, I heard whole orchestras. Like, I wish I knew how to write them, because I would all these songs came, and it was just a very, I guess that would also be, spending time with me, but it was just,
Some
I
things
never
aren't
quite had it to
classifiable.
the same intensity as that, but that was like, powerful.
That's so cool.
I'll kind of echo what Christy, what you're kind of saying about all things kind of working together for good kind of thing. And that's, I don't know, I see that happening a lot, that God has done in my life, in our lives. And even though that I'm more of a glass half empty kind of guy a lot of the times. But things do end up working together for good. So I think it's because I'm half empty all the time that they do, though. It's because of me being a pessimist.
Was there something specific that stuck out to you?
In all that stuff that's gone well,
Yeah.
a particular incident.
Or is
Oh.
it just the concept?
No, there's gobs of things. I mean, the fact that I've, my career lasting so long at this company and, at IBM, I mean, that's been big for me. And, I just think about the moves that we've had, the different jobs that Anne's just taken, the properties we've been able to buy and sell, kiddos, all that stuff. I mean, it's just endless. So.
For me, one of the first things that came to mind was a moment that I found out my love language, and I was so mad that it was physical touch, because I was under the impression that the Lord wasn't physical, that he was like, I had never heard of things that were like manifestations of the Spirit, like people actually physically feeling the Lord or the Holy Spirit or angels or anything. Like, I didn't know that existed, and I was really upset at God. I was like, all these other people, they get like words from the Bible, and like they have quality time with you with quiet time, and like I was really upset. So I was in my neighbor's front yard, because we had gravel, they had grass, and I was just sitting there and being really upset, and this warm wind came out of nowhere, and it felt like a hug, and my body changed from tense to calm, and my thoughts drifted away, and I could breathe easily. And I realized later on that I wasn't able to do it in that moment, but later on I realized like that was a physical moment that the Lord had with me. Another one that I had, which this is in Jackson, I don't think you're super familiar with this, but I had a severe issue swallowing, where when I swallowed, I wasn't able to, things weren't able to get into my stomach. They would just sit in my esophagus, and then I would have to like